Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.
It's all about the deal at Brunswick Auto Mart. Save big this month with deals like this. Don't miss the Make This the Summer event and lease a new 2025 Ram 1500 Night Edition Crew Cab 4x4 with heated side mirrors, parking sensors, backup cam, Apple CarPlay, and lane departure warning for just $319 a month. Brunswick Auto Mart. Car buying made truly simple.
Sports on Tap. This is the high school football recap show for the regional championship games presented by Raymond Felton, State Farm Insurance. Check him out at www.rayfelton.com to get a nice quote for your home, auto, life insurance needs, amongst the many other products that Raymond Felton State Farm offers out of beautiful Hudson, Ohio. My name is Ed Dick, alongside Rob Troutman, Sean Duffy, Noah Jacobson, and Josh Jeffy out on a very important assignment, supporting his daughter at the fall sports awards for Brunswick High School. So he'll be out today, but certainly back with us here for next week's show. You're watching us live on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe, smash the notifications button, and get those notifications. We are about to go live on the air. Follow us on Twitter/X at SOT Podcast. Get the live updates when we go out to check out games. And it's also just a lot of our information is through our X account. We are also at Facebook at Sports on Tap. Make sure you like us there. Follow us there as well. We are on Threads at SOT_podcasts. We are also on Spotify at Sports on Tap. And for information and a little bit about ourselves, make sure you check us out at sportsontappodcast.com. For questions, comments, suggestions, pronunciations, send us a note at sportsontappodcast@gmail.com. All right, we are finally to the Final Four. Just seems like yesterday we were still recapping and talking to coaches, previewing their seasons, and at the end of all of this, as far as the Sports on Tap teams are concerned, we are down to just one, and we'll go through that. We'll go through that here very shortly. So we'll go through the recaps for Division I, Region 1, Division 2, Region 6, and Division 3, Region 10. We had games in those regions. We'll also touch on Division 2, Region 5 as well. Meaning that we had some teams that got through pretty late there. We will be talking with two of the players from the team that is still standing, where we talk with middle linebacker from Avon, Ryan Stolarski. He is the SWC Defensive Player of the Year. And we'll also be talking with Avon defensive lineman Lance Dawson. He had two huge plays, amongst many others, in the game against Highland. So I'll talk to him about that. Ryan Stolarski will be on at 8:05. Lance Dawson will be on at 8:20. And then after that, we're going to touch on each of the 7 state semifinal divisions before we wrap it up for today's show. All right. So without further ado, let's get to it. Division 1, Region 1 championship game between the St. Edward Eagles and the Mentor Cardinals. Now, Josh was at this game, but being that he's not able to be with us today, Noah's going to take over here, being that it is his conference. And Noah, take it away.
All right, thank you, Ed. And another Division I, Region 1 regional championship game rematch between the number 1 seed St. Edward Eagles and the number 2 seed Mentor Cardinals. And yes, Josh Jeffy was at this game at historic Bearsfield, a great place to host, whether it's a regional or a playoff game, a great place to host a high school football game. And St. Edwards, well, they just got the best and the better of the Mentor Cardinals in this game, 27-7. Congratulations to St. Edward Eagles running back Brandon White, the Kent State commit. He became the program's all-time leading rusher in this game, and what a game that he had for the Eagles. He had 30 carries for 178 yards and 3 touchdowns. Defensive back and West Virginia commit Mekhi Boone had a 45-yard interception return for a touchdown in this game. Toledo commit Zach Hackelman had 5 catches for 55 yards, and St. Ed's quarterback Johnny F. Chake was 7-9 for 63 yards. Now for Mentor, they played without their star running back Jackson Farley for the second straight week as he was out due to an injury, so a big loss for the Mentor Cardinals in this game. Wide receiver Justin Hodge had 6 catches for 107 yards, and he did also have 9 carries for 41 yards and the only touchdown in this game for the Mentor Cardinals. Quarterback Brogan Jones was 8 of 18 for 125 yards as St. Edwards would get their 5th straight regional championship in a row with a 27-7 win against the Mentor Cardinals. Congratulations to the Mentor Cardinals on another great season. Coach Matt Gray, back-to-back appearances in the regional championship, but fell short to the same team, the St. Edward Eagles. And congratulations to what a great career it was for running back Jackson Farley, Justin Hodge, and 4 of the 5 outside linemen who are Division One commits. But the good news is, Coach Gray got his quarterback Brogan Jones back for the 2026 season, and that as they will look to use this as motivation during the off season as they look forward to the 2026 season, and that they finished the season 12-1, and they finished with back-to-back GCC titles. So another great year covering these guys in the Greater Cleveland Conference as we look forward to covering them once again in 2026.
Great job, Noah, and thanks to Josh for going out there, getting some great video, as always, providing us those live updates. And you set up, Noah. I mean, it's a disappointing end, especially the last few weeks for Jackson Farley not being able to participate. But Coach Gray, again, finding those underclassmen quarterbacks, which is what we're used to seeing out of Menor.
Yeah, definitely. And that's just the culture that Menor has always had, like developing like quarterbacks. I mean, look at it. Mitchell Trubisky, he went on to win the Ohio's Mr. Football. Scotty Fox, he's now the starting quarterback at West Virginia. And now Brogan Jones stepping in for him. That's big time for how Coach Gray is able to develop these young players and especially these quarterbacks. And he's going to be thrilled when he has his quarterback back coming into the 2026 season. And it'll be really exciting to see how many underclassmen are really going to step up for his team going into next year.
And just like they reload, they are a good program, as we've talked about with many of these schools in our coverage area. That is a tremendous football program. I don't think you can understate the loss, the impact of missing a Jackson Farley. I mean, an all-world running back. I know Coach Lombardo had pointed out that his team was, St. Ed's was also had some injuries as well, and I completely respect that. But I think if you took their top running back and he wasn't able to play, I think he'd be in a similar situation that Mentor was in this week, Noah.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like if Jackson Farley had played that game, and even probably last week, it would probably be a different game in this one. But what a career by Jackson Farley for the Menor Cardinals, and another great year for him as he looks forward to going into Kent State and helping out that Golden Flashes football team. As what a great season and for Jackson Farley and the Menor careers as we look forward to watching his career at Kent State going into next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, I don't want to make this out to be more than it sounds like. I fully respect Coach Lombardo and St. Ed's team. I'm not saying that they would have lost if Jackson Farley had played. I do believe there's a significant impact though, like you mentioned, about how the game goes a little bit differently. This year, Menor was better when they were able to run the ball with Jackson Farley than they were with passing the ball. They passed when they had to last week, but as Brogan Jones gets a little bit older and into his career, you might see that flip a little bit where he is the main offensive hub, and you're not relying on a running back.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really been that offensive line, Ed, that's just been carrying not only Brogan Jones, but Jackson Farley as well. I mean, all 5 of those guys, 4 out of the 5 are D1 commits. That's just unprecedented what Coach Gray is able to build with his Menor program. And like you mentioned, it's going to be a reload for him next season to see who's going to be able to protect Brogan Jones going into his senior season. But man, 4 of the 5 D1 commits. That's just how the testament how Coach Gray's program is able to build the last few years that he's been with the Menor Cardinals.
Absolutely. So I think you put a real good bow on Menor's season there, and again, great work on the Greater Cleveland Conference this year for football.
Thank you, Ed. And it's always a pleasure to cover the Greater Cleveland Conference. I think it's by far that and the Southwestern Conference. I think they're the 2 best conferences in Northeast Ohio. We're always a pleasure to cover these conferences, not only the SWG and the GCC, but the Suburban League and the Cleveland West Conference. All 4 are possibly the best conferences that we cover in Northeast Ohio, and there is nothing like it when it comes to Friday nights.
Absolutely. All right, so let's shift over. We will quickly touch on Division II, Region 5. This was a game. Now, this was a rematch of an earlier game. I misstated that last week, so I apologize. Between Akron Archbishop Hoban and Walsh Jesuit. And this game, you look at the score, all Walsh all the time here. And it's not very often you see Hoban get dog walked like this, as the phrasing I've heard more recently is. But Walsh was up to the task. They avenged a 1914 loss earlier in the season to Archbishop Hoban, and Walsh Jesuit a huge 35-7 win over Hoban. And the winner of this game will take on the winner of our next game and another feature game of the week that also that Noah happened to be at. Played right in our backyard. The champions of the Southwestern Conference, the team who hasn't lost to an Ohio team in about 2 calendar years, against the Suburban League American champion, the undefeated Highland Hornets. Noah was at this game. Noah, why don't you take it over?
All right, thank you, Ed. And always a pleasure to do a regional championship game. And who else but what you want as a high school football fan when you get these two teams again for the 3rd consecutive year, between the number 3 seed and SWC champion Avon Eagles taking on the number 1 seed and Suburban American champion, the Highland Hornets. And what a start by Avon's defense is they got a 3-and-out in the Highlands opening drive. Highland did win the toss and want the ball, but Avon's defense really made a statement in the opening drive and made a statement of how good their defense was going to be able to play against Grady Gibb and Casey Miser. And then Avon would get the ball and they would drive right down the field. When Grant Barr, he made a heck of a one-handed catch. I feel like whenever we're at these games, Grant Barr always makes a statement with these one-handed catches, and what another great one and he had. And then it was 4th and goal. And then it looked like Highlands defense, they've been making stops all year. Their defense was giving up, I think, 6 points per game. But quarterback Blake Elder ran a 4th down and goal touchdown to give the Eagles a 7-0 lead. But watch out for the Hornets, as Grady Gibb would have a QB sneak to tie it, to make it a 7-6 game when Avon blocked the field goal. It was Lance Dawson, and we'll have on in the show coming up in a little bit. And then it was Avon running back Quante Smith would have a touchdown on the very next drive. When the 49 seconds left in the second quarter, Cam Wendell would score a touchdown to make it 21-6, and it looked like Avon was going to have good momentum going into the second half. But wait a minute. Highland made a Hail Mary pass when quarterback Grady Gibb found Casey Miser for 44 yards for a touchdown to close out the first half to make it a very interesting 21-12 game in this one. But don't stop Avon yet, as they would score a touchdown. It was a fumble return touchdown when Jack Fitch recovered a fumble into the end zone for a touchdown to make it 29-12 in this game. But Casey Miser, just like he's been doing all year, he makes big-time plays at the right time with 11 seconds left to go to third to make it a 29-19 game. And then Highland was on the verge of making it a 7-point game with 6:29 left to go. But Lance Dawson blocked another field goal and then returned for a touchdown by Nathan Peters for 69 yards in this game to give Avon a 36-19 win against Highland. This is Avon's 8th regional championship in 9 years. That's just how Coach Elder's program has been building throughout the whole years. I was able to talk to him and Quante Smith and quarterback Blake Elder in this game. Avon quarterback Blake Elder was 12 of 14 for 112 yards and a touchdown. Running back Quante Smith had 23 carries for 196 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Grant Barr had 3 catches for 65 yards. Highland quarterback Grady Gibb was 7 of 12 for 167 yards, and he had a rushing and a passing touchdown. Wide receiver Lucas Girding had 5 catches for 85 yards. Highland running back Casey Miser had 11 carries for 107 yards and a touchdown, as Avon would get a 36-19 win against Highland to beat them for the 3rd consecutive year in the regional championship. Rob, you want to have some of the tips of how Avon just really dominated this game against Highland?
Well, I think it started up front. I mean, looking at this video, Keontae Smith, man, he had the moves in this game. He was cutting. You could tell he's completely healthy. The way he was running the football in this game, 196 yards on 23 carries, and he was running hard. He was able to stop on a dime and make some nice cuts. He had one touchdown in this game, but 196 yards on a really good Highland defense. We know how good Highland is. Center Jack Fitch, he scored as he jumped on a fumble, and it was a fumble by Keontae Smith. It was in the end zone, and he recovered it. So the center gets a touchdown. And overall, I mean, you look at Blake Elder's stats, they don't jump off the score sheet, but 12 of 14 is pretty accurate. He passed when he needed to. He passed to Grant Barr, who was 3 receptions, 65 yards, and now in his career, he's over 2,000 yards, receiving yards, that is. And on the year, 56 catches, 919 yards, and 10 touchdowns. This season, now that they've won this game, he'll have a chance to go over 1,000 yards next week, or this coming up week, rather. And just a great season by these guys overall. And, Mike Elder, too, the Avon head coach, he's tied for the most wins in Lorain County with 214. He ties Dave DeLugas, who used to be the head coach of Avon Lake, and he was there 24 years. So he did a great job. There are a lot of great coaches here. But Avon overall, just dominant up front. They did fumble 4 times, but they recovered all 4 of those fumbles. So that's one thing they have to be careful with going against Walsh Jesuit. But overall, just a great job by the offensive line and the defense of Avon, creating all kinds of problems for Highland in this game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And for Highland, congratulations to the Highland Hornets, by the way. Again, another great season for Coach Gibbons in this game. It's hard to win a regional championship when you're playing against the same team for 3 consecutive years. And Coach Elder really praised to that. He congratulated Coach Gibbons and his team. He really didn't expect what the community wanted against his team. But another great season by the Highland Hornets and Coach Gibbons. And it's going to be hard when you lose your quarterback, Grady Gibb, who I think had a fantastic year for the Highland Hornets. And Casey Miser probably had one of the greatest careers I've seen by a Highland Hornet in his career. But the good news is for Coach Gibbons, he's got his Suburban League defensive player back next year, Evan Faust, and he's going to be a force for what his team is going to bring in the Suburban League Natty when they switch from the American to the Natty going into the 2026 season. So, again, congratulations to the Highland Hornets. The 3rd consecutive year, they make it to the regional championship. They win another Suburban League title, their 2nd in 3 years. But what a game this was between Avon and Highland.
I think, hey, Sean,
Yeah.
No, I think we should throw it over to you for a little perspective here from the Highland side.
Well, I mean, I think Noah pretty much summed it up. It was a good year for Highland. Again, they forced Avon to fumble 4 times. We couldn't capitalize on it. You cannot let a team get away with that in a major game like this. Offensively, I think they performed just like they've been doing all year. Problem is they ran up against probably the second or probably the next best defense that no one wants to face in this area, and that's the Avon. That's Avon. Looking at the overall careers of Grady Gibb and Casey Miser, especially with Casey Miser, it's historic, and it's also historic on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, let's take away this game, and going into this game, they had given up 54 points in 12 weeks of competition. That's saying something about a defense. They didn't play cupcakes. They played the Suburban League American Division. They did what they had to do, and they were dominant. They ran into a team that, again, is the defending state champion for a reason. There's absolutely nothing to hang your head about. Obviously, we know Coach Gibbons. We know this program. They are not satisfied with being the runners-up like for 30 straight years. They're not satisfied where they are, and you can tell that program is going to use this as fuel. And again, hats off to Avon. Again, they came into this as an underdog for the first time, I think, since we've been covering them. They outside in a regional final, I don't think I've ever seen Avon in white uniforms. That was very telling to me. And they used it as fuel. They came in with a chip on their shoulder. Their only loss in 2 years is they had to go down south to do it. And I got to tell you, that loss wasn't all that bad either, because they played a team that, capitalized on some of those mistakes. I absolutely agree with Rob that if they fumble the ball 4 times against Walsh Jesuit next week, that game is not going to be pretty because Walsh Jesuit just beat up on Hoban pretty solidly, and it was not. And from all accounts, it was not close, even at kickoff. So they they beat Highland, and that's fantastic. And again, my hats off to the Highland program because they have they have solidified the fact that I don't think there's one national league or national division team that's happy that Highland is coming over to play in that league right now. And I'm telling that to Medina, I'm saying to Wadsworth, I'm saying all that. Like that now becomes a dogfight every single week. There is no easy game. That's the Southwestern Conference, part two or south, if you want to call it that. So, I wouldn't be shocked if we're talking basically Division Two, Region 5 now becomes, because I think that geographically a lot of those teams line up a little bit, but you know, now you look at a situation where Highland has an opportunity to really kind of expound its dominance, from the American to the national conference. So it'll be fun to watch. But again, congratulations to those seniors. It's historic, and obviously it didn't end the way they wanted it to, but what does? Only one team can win, and unfortunately, Avon. Fortunately for Avon, they were able to not allow those mistakes to shoot them in the foot because I think one or two of those fumbles being recovered by Highland would have led to points because it's had that feeling towards the end of that game that Highland was getting some momentum on that defense. They were able to find holes. That defense is formidable, but it's not. No defense is perfect. They make mistakes, and it just didn't go their way this year for the third year in a row. And I'm sure Coach Gibbons is upset and disappointed, but at the same time, only one team wins the championship. That's the way it works. So,
yeah, exactly, and for this many years running, it's been Avon's region, and it'll be Avon's region until someone knocks them off. And it doesn't matter what color uniforms they happen to be wearing, as we will find out here in Division 3, Region 10. Avon is at this point the undisputed kings of that region, and they are the defending state champions for a reason. So again, a tremendous season for Highland, undefeated conference champions. They walk away with the American Conference Championship as they move to the National Conference in the Suburban League. Excuse me, next season. All right, so great job, Noah, for at the game, and Rob and Sean for the perspective for each of your respective conferences there. All right, the last game coverage that we have, Division 3, Region 10, and this was a battle between the number 6 seed in the 3-time reigning division regional champion, no matter what division they happen to be in, Toledo Central Catholic Fighting Irish, taking the debutantes of the finals, that being the number 5 seed Rocky River Pirates. It's the first time they made it to a regional championship since in their school history. One note that I failed to mention, and I could probably mention this later, about Walsh Jesuit, that's their first regional championship since 1999. Which is kind of crazy,
wow,
knowing how good Walsh is at like most sports. So that was a good stat pull by Noah there. So Walsh Jesuit gets to their first Final Four this century, quite honestly. So
crazy.
Moving on to this game, we knew it was going to be tough sledding for Rocky River against a phenomenal team in Toledo Central Catholic, and it could not have started any better for the Fighting Irish. Jerome Davis took the opening kickoff 75 yards for a touchdown, and before a play was run from scrimmage, Rocky River was already behind the 8 ball. The Pirates battled back, though. A 4-play drive, a long pass play from Ryan Taylor to Tristan Hughes set up a Ryan Taylor to Tristan Hughes 9-yard touchdown pass to tie the game at 7. The Irish went back up 14-7 after a 10-yard touchdown run by Jeremiah Fuller. Rocky River wasn't going away. Tristan Hughes tied the game up after another nice long drive, and they were able to tie it up at 14 as Hughes ran in for a short touchdown run. But after that, it was the run game of Toledo Central Catholic that just completely took over. Jeremiah Fuller ended up with 5 touchdowns. He scored from 10 yards out, 1 yard out, 8 yards out, 50 yards out, and 15 yards out. He was spelled by senior running back Anthony Sylvester. He had 18 carries for 75 yards himself and 2 touchdowns. Fuller ended up with 25 carries for 277 yards. And that's we've seen that Toledo Central Catholic, they can traditionally run the ball really well, and that's exactly what they did here. And despite the teams that Rocky River has played up to this point, mostly run-heavy teams, they're not Toledo Central Catholic, and they unfortunately they didn't have enough firepower to keep up with them. It ended up being 42-20 at halftime, and it ends up being a 57-28 victory for Toledo Central Catholic. They win the Division III Region 10 championship over Rocky River, 57-28. For Rocky River, all-conference quarterback Ryan Taylor finished his career at Rocky River. He finished 13 of 29 for 265 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also had 2 picks. He also rushed 12 times for 55 yards. Tristan Hughes, again, just a junior, he was named the Cleveland West Conference Player of the Year. He caught 4 passes for 100 yards and a touchdown. And then he also, 2 touchdowns, and he also ran for a touchdown. Well, Rowan Kennedy caught 3 passes for 104 yards and a touchdown. Rocky River, they finished their best season in school history, with an 11-3 record. Again, the furthest they've advanced in the playoffs in school history. Toledo Central Catholic, they improved to 10-4. They will take on undefeated Region 9 champion CBCA this week, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But just a few words more about Rocky River. Coach Wells had this team ready to go. The weather wasn't the greatest for what they like to do, but I mean, Ryan Taylor's still able to throw the ball through the air a little bit. The biggest difference between Rocky River and Toledo Central Catholic in this game was the run game. Even if they're usually able to run the ball pretty well, that being Rocky River, but unfortunately here they got gummed up a little bit. Tristan Hughes only got 2 rushes. Joey DeSalvo only got 2 rushes, and he lost a yard on his rushes. So the line really made the big difference here as far as shutting down Rocky River for what they want to do offensively. And again, the Fighting Irish were able to do whatever they wanted to on the ground offensively. Jeremiah Fuller is only a junior, and I saw a few of the highlights from Toledo TV up there, and it was a really, really just impressive effort on there as well. So, again, nothing to be ashamed of. They were the runners-up in the conference. They were the runners-up in the region. If you told Coach Wells before the season started that you'd end up in the regional championship, he'd have taken that 10 times out of 10. But it's you run up against a juggernaut like Toledo Central Catholic. A lot of things need to go your way in order to get that win. And unfortunately, this didn't have enough firepower at the end. But they have a lot in the tank, though. You have Danny Berg, Rowan Kennedy, and Tristan Hughes are all coming back. You also have Carter Atwater, who filled in for Ryan Taylor a few times this year, and he proved to be a very competent quarterback only as a sophomore. So he's someone who's able to fill up the stat book himself when Ryan Taylor was out, and he'll presumably take control of the team in the offseason, and with Tristan Hughes leading the way as a senior, the sky's the limit for Rocky River going into next year. All right, so with that, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will be speaking with Avon linebacker Ryan Stolarski, and we will, after him at 8:20, we'll be talking with Avon defensive lineman Lance Dawson. And then we're going to take a quick look at all of the state semifinals for each of the 7 divisions right after that. This is Sports on Tap's coverage of the high school football season. This is our regional finals recap show presented by Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance. Stay tuned for a word for our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.
It's all about the deal at Brunswick Auto Mart. Save big this month with deals like this. Don't miss the Make This the Summer event and lease a new 2025 Ram 1500 Night Edition Crew Cab 4x4 with heated side mirrors, parking sensors, backup cam, Apple CarPlay, and lane departure warning for just $319 a month. Brunswick Auto Mart. Car buying made truly simple.
Welcome back to Sports on Tap. This is the high school football recap show, our coverage of the regional championship round. We are now on to the state final four. You got to hear a word from our sponsors there. We want to thank them all. So stay tuned after the show for another word from our tremendous sponsors. We went through the recaps for our respective regions and our respective shows. In about 15 minutes, we'll be joined by Avon defensive lineman Lance Dawson. We will talk a little bit about the each division's state semifinals after that. But for now, we are very happy to be joined by a tremendous student athlete from Avon. He's a linebacker. He is the Defensive Player of the Year, not only in the Southwestern Conference, but also the Northeast Lakes District. And he's got a heck of a career going on. That's going to start here at a MAC school, which we'll get to here in a little bit later. But we are joined by Ryan Stolarski from Avon. Ryan, thanks for taking time to join us tonight.
Yeah, of course. Happy to be here.
Ryan, just a tremendous knockdown, drag-out game against Highland. Not many teams, obviously no teams were able to do to Highland what you guys were able to do to Highland. Talk about your guys' approach defensively going against the old world running back that is Casey Miser, an extremely accurate passer in Grady Gibb. Where were you guys able to find some success in slowing them down?
I mean, that's our third year in a row playing them. So, I mean, each week our coaches, they find weaknesses in teams, and, our game plans each week, I think we feel really good going into each week. And last week we went out and executed, took care of business. So it was just great to see. And there were still lots of things we took out of it that we could learn from and be better for next week.
Ryan, thank you for taking the time to join us, and congratulations again on another regional championship for you guys. I was actually at the game Friday night, and when Grady Gibb made that touchdown pass to Casey Measures to make it a one-score game, 21-25. Just kind of talk about how you guys really responded coming out of halftime when it started to rain really in the second half. Just kind of talk about how you guys really responded after that Hail Mary touchdown pass.
I mean, we knew they were a great team. We knew they weren't just gonna go away. We knew they were gonna fight back. So that Hail Mary, that kind of just came and hit us, and we were like, we gotta respond now. And I think we did a great job the second half.
Ryan, you guys have been again a fantastic defense in your own right for really the past 2 years, not giving up. Outside of traveling down to Florida, which, let's be honest, any of us that have ever traveled down to Florida, weird things happen in Florida. It's just that's the way we put it down there. But you guys have just been on this level where you're constantly, each week improving, and that's saying something given the fact the talent that you guys have around you. What's some of the things that you guys have been talking about week in and week out, specifically this year, having that, state championship was won last year, and there's that expectation, and everyone's talking back to back, and now we're in the playoff hunt. Like, what is the focus specifically that you are trying to give your unit, your defensive unit, each week? Is it just focus on the opponent, forget everything else, or is there other things that the coaches are trying to give you guys going in each week?
I mean, I'm as a captain and all the other captains, we know each week because we've done it before. We were here last year, and we know what it takes to get to that end goal. So each week we can't just stay the same. We have to improve a lot each week. So like our week 1 selves versus our week 5 selves, like, is a whole different team. Like, we should be able to destroy our week 1 selves, and that's just what Coach Elder preaches. And yeah, just got to carry on and get better for this next week.
Yeah, Ryan, a lot of times, you hear about in the media and stuff, everybody talks about the offense. I mean, they do talk about the defense, obviously. You guys have been just rock solid, but it's more offense this. What goals did you have in the offseason to really get this defense to be as impressive as it is this year?
I mean, we knew we had some guys coming back, so the guys with experience, we have to definitely take a lead on the field and kind of show everybody else and, like, kind of make sure they could feel comfortable stepping into their role as a starter, and there's no pressure for them. And just we got to make sure we're playing team football, as our coaches always preach to us, 11-on-1.
We're talking with Ryan Stolarski, Avon linebacker. You mentioned this was your third time playing Highland in the last 3 years. So with that little bit of familiarity, I mean, obviously teams are different year over year, but how did that give you guys a little bit of, I don't want to say an advantage, but you kind of had an idea of what was coming?
Yeah, I think definitely seeing the film, we could go back and watch both years' film. We could, like, take pieces of it and, like, see what they were looking to attack versus us and how we can game plan for that and stuff. So I think it definitely helped seeing them in past years.
Ryan, besides talking about you on the defensive side, I want to talk about more about the offense, because coming into that game, Highland's defense was only giving up 6 points per game, and you knew your offense was going to have to lean on your offensive line and bring really that physicality and that. Just kind of talk about how the run game with Quante has been able to really been a big factor for you the last 2 weeks, and talk about how Blake Elder had been really managing the game. I mean, he was 12 of 14 for 114 yards in that. Just kind of talk about the offense really brought that physicality to that Highland defense.
Yeah, just like I was talking about, like, having guys that played in past years on defense with experience, we have guys on offense with experience as well. Our sophomore, actually 2 years ago, Blake Elder, he started 3 playoff games as a sophomore, including the Final Four game. So that's just great to have a dude like that with experience. And a year ago, Keontae and Cam Wendell, they both played in the Final Four and state championship, and they both performed well. So having them 2 back is good for experience as well. I think Blake's just been taking a great step at leading the offense. And we just have so many different guys at receiver. So, like, if they want to double Grant, like, we got Finn Jordanic, Caden Bennett, Jackson Palmer. We got so many guys at receiver. So hard to in our O line. Can't not talk about the O line. Our O line's been putting some nice rushing yards, opening up some lanes for Keontae and Cam. So
Ryan, it's been impressive, as I mentioned, watching the whole team, but specifically defensively and your part in it. You know, from an individual standpoint, you talked a little bit earlier about progressing throughout the year. What are some of the things that you think you guys have done better as the year progressed from a defensive side of the ball? Maybe you or maybe a group that has progressed, that's seen that jump, because you mentioned that you have to kind of let those guys that maybe don't have the experience get the experience. Is there something you could point to and say this particular, or I got better doing this, or this group got better doing this week to week?
I'd say, yeah, I feel like at the beginning of the year, we definitely had a few injuries and new guys had to step up. And I think they came in and started playing just to the expectation. And I think each week our defensive coaches, we do drills and stuff, whatever we see on film that needs to be worked on. We make sure we address that and get it fixed so we could become the best defense we can.
Yeah, Ryan, talk about some of the other defensive players that have had a great season that you are playing with on the defensive side, and talk about some of the players that maybe surprised you on defense that really stepped into roles that are having a great year.
Yeah, we have Darrell Fenton, who stepped in for Alex Rivera's ACL injury, and he's just been playing lights out corner. And we got Lance Dawson, obviously, who's about to come on. He's a monster up front. Vinny DiTilio next to me at linebacker. We got Jackson Brokaw. Our safeties played last year. Trevor Maley, Jerry Clements, they all got experience, and I think it's just good to have guys with experience, like just going forward.
Yeah, and you being a captain too, I noticed when I was at some games this year, you've really taken that captain role and taken a leadership role to get these guys on the same page and understanding where guys should be. And I thought that was impressive because it takes a leader like you to really get a hold of that defense and make sure everybody's covering their assignments.
Yeah, I've actually played like almost all of the linebacker positions now for Avon, so I kind of know their defense really well. So if I see something that doesn't look right, I just always address it and I make sure everything's on the right track.
Absolutely.
Do the defensive coaches give you that? I'm gonna say freedom, for lack of a better term, but like, do you feel as though you might be an extension of the defensive coaching staff on the field?
I feel like now I definitely do a little bit more. It wasn't always like that. I feel like I had to kind of earn their trust a little bit. But after 3 years playing in their defense, I think they trust me as a senior captain. So
yeah, no doubt.
yeah.
With that, next year you're going to Miami, and and I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse too much, but next year going to Miami, congratulations, that's fantastic. Miami. So what was it about Miami of Ohio that got you to want to go there?
Well, first of all, I instantly had a connection with the coach there, and I think that was a big piece of what went into making my decision. And obviously, I like the campus, the school, academics are great, and just the facilities and stuff. And yeah.
Ryan, I got a chance to talk with Coach Elder after the game, and he talked about how the SWC is always a meat grinder, and it really prepares you guys for like big time playoff games. And it showed last week when you went to Wadsworth and in a regional semifinal game in which you were at. It wasn't at a regional site, but it was a great atmosphere you guys were at and won that game in Highland. Talk about how that SWC schedule and even the non-conference schedule, whether it's Ignatius or Glenview you guys are playing, how it really prepares you guys for playoff games like this to have a great opportunity to go up against these teams.
I mean, yeah, in order to win big games, you just have to play in them before or get them out of the way. So our coach Elder does a good job at scheduling games weeks 1 through 3, some harder opponents, and then the SWC is obviously competitive each year, and they're all decent teams. So just it prepares us well for the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, Ryan, being a senior this year, what are some of the great memories you've had at Avon? Obviously, you guys have traveled down south, and I'm sure that was
a great time. Is there one or a few great memories you've had with some of your teammates that you'll always remember at Avon?
Yeah, I always remember the state championship after we won last year, running out on the field. And then also, even though I didn't get to play in this year's Florida game, it was still a really fun trip. And that'll definitely be something I remember for the rest of my life.
Very cool.
We're talking with Ryan Stolarski, the all SWC Defensive Player of the Year, all District Player of the Year. This week, you're taking on Walsh Jesuit. A departure from in past years when you've gotten past the regionals, and it would usually be hoping that you guys would run into. Without giving too much away, talk a little about what you've seen on Walsh Jesuit's film. What are some things that they're really good at?
I mean, we know they just come off a big win versus Hoban. We obviously know they're a great team, and we're just gonna do the best we can this week to look at the film, see it, break it down, see what we could do this week to come out and get that win.
And we'll get you out of here on this question. With the amount of playoff games that Avon has played in the last X amount of years, but you specifically, 6 games last year, 5 games at least, 4 or 5 the year before, even before when you were a freshman. You guys have played what amounts to another full season and then some. How impactful are those additional practices, not only for you but also the underclassmen?
I mean, yeah, the underclassmen and us, it just everybody coming back. You get an extra 6 practices or 5, whatever. Just helps so much. That's just 5 more weeks of getting better at football, especially at Avon. We don't take days off. Each day we're looking to get better and use all the time in practice. Don't waste any time. Just keep getting better. So it's definitely beneficial. And I think seeing like the younger kids see us go on these deep playoff runs, I think it makes them like if they're not playing as like a sophomore, it makes them want to work hard in the off season so they could be out there as a junior.
Is that something that as seniors, and maybe even as a junior last year, as you guys are going through this part of the season, that's something you imparted on the young guys and telling them, this is a privilege to be able to continue to play this long. It shouldn't be a drag. This is some really, really good opportunities. Is that something you guys talk about with the underclassmen at all?
I mean, yeah, each year, like we looked up to the seniors 2 years ago, 1 year ago, and now it's our turn. So now we just got to carry on the Avon tradition, show the younger classmen how it's supposed to be ran around here, and what it takes to get to the Final Four state championship every year, what it takes to do that. So.
And speaking of the youth, even going down to the smaller to the youth program, how important is it for the high schoolers to show the youth program and being involved with the youth program and continue to cultivate the Eagles program?
Yeah, I think Coach Helder, he does a great job with the youth, and all of us, we go in summer and there's multiple camps that we go and just help out with the young kids and make sure they're having fun and not wanting to quit or anything, and just make sure it's the best for them. And so they come and show support for us when it comes to October, September, Friday nights.
Oh, I can tell you that it's a major impact. I still remember going back in the 90s when I was a youth going to some camps, and when the high schoolers would come down and see what and take an interest in what we were doing. And at the time, we were in the state playoffs a lot. Went to the state championship actually, and that made a huge impact on me just as a young guy. I have to imagine that it does the same thing for your youth in Avon.
I mean, yeah, for sure, because we were all on the sidelines as kids. Like we went through the program, so like we know how it is, how impactful the varsity players are. So now that it's our turn, got to give back a little bit to them, like the older ones did for us.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Ryan, thank you very much for taking the time to join us tonight. A big game coming up this week against Walsh. So good luck to you and the Eagles this week. Hopefully we get another week out of it, and certainly as you're progressing through, best of luck to you as you get to college as well. So good luck this week.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Good luck.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you. See you guys.
All right, that was Avon senior linebacker Ryan Stolarski. Again, SWC Defensive Player of the Year. He was also the Defensive Player of the Year in the Northeast Lakes District for Division II. So he'll have more than likely have a division, a first team All State designation attached to his name. So just a tremendous athlete, student athlete at that, and lots of good stuff there. So we're still waiting for Lance Dawson. So while we're waiting, we'll do what we haven't normally done too often. We'll take a second break here in the middle of the show. We'll reset here, and hopefully when we come back, we'll be talking with Lance Dawson, and we will progress either way with the all 7 divisions of state semifinals coming up on the other side of the break. This is Sports on Tap's coverage of the high school football season. This is the regional finals edition, and we'll be right back after a quick break.
Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.
It's all about the deal at Brunswick Auto Mart. Save big this month with deals like this. Don't miss the Make This the Summer event and lease a new 2025 Ram 1500 Night Edition Crew Cab 4x4 with heated side mirrors, parking sensors, backup cam, Apple CarPlay, and lane departure warning for just $319 a month. Brunswick Auto Mart. Car buying made truly simple.
Welcome back to Sports on Tap's coverage of the high school football season. This is the regional finals recap show. We had just spoken with Avon linebacker Ryan Stolarski. We went through our recaps of Division I, Region 1, Division 2, Region 6, and Division 3, Region 10. After we will be going through each of the 7 state semifinals, a brief word about all of them. But for now, we are very happy to be joined by Avon defensive lineman Lance Dawson. Had a huge game against Highland here. We'll talk to him about that. He's a first team all Southwestern Conference selection. He's a pretty big dude, and he's going to a pretty big college. We'll touch on a little bit about that with all of them. So Lance Dawson joins us tonight. Lance, how you doing?
What's up? I'm doing good. Feeling good after this win, and ready to move on to the next week.
Yeah, we'll certainly get there. Again, without giving too much away about what's going on with Walsh. Let's go back to the Highland game. I mean, not one, but 2 blocked kicks. It's rare for a team to get 2 blocked kicks in a season, let alone 2 in the same game. It's even more rare that the same person does it twice. How were you able to get into that? You think after the first one, it might be a little bit harder to get the second one, but you're able to get 2. How are you able to do that?
Yeah, it was, we just knew, I just knew coming in this game, watching film, their gaps are really wide, and just for, usually on film, they just let their gaps open really wide, so I knew coming in this week, whenever we did PAT block, to just, get skinny and hit my gap really hard. I know it's harder for big people like me to squeeze through those gaps, but I used my speed to advantage, and it helped me break through for the second time.
Lance, thank you for so much for taking your time and joining us tonight. Congratulations on the win against Thailand on the regional championship for you guys. I was actually at the game on Friday night watching you guys. I asked Ryan this question before. That Hail Mary pass really broke your hearts when it was like a 21-12 halftime game. Just kind of talk about how you guys really responded after the Hail Mary pass really happened, and it was really starting to rain in the second half. Just kind of talk about how you guys really responded after that Hail Mary touchdown pass.
We knew that they were going to make some big plays, whether it was with their running back or with their quarterback and their wide receivers. We knew that play was going to happen, but we knew we just had to keep our heads down and let the pass talk, and let the pass talk the whole game. Just don't get any flag calls. We knew after that pass, when it started raining, they were going to run the ball a lot, and we knew to just lock in D-line, just open up gaps for our linebackers to just come in and just close out the game.
Lance, again, it's really been impressive to watch this Avon defense progress throughout the year. You guys seem to get better and better each week. I do love the idea that you said earlier on that you had to get skinny as a big guy. I wrestle with the fact that I've been trying to get skinny for 20 to 30 years. Unfortunately, it's harder to do as you get older, but definitely props to you for getting out there and blocking those kicks. For you as a defensive lineman and your progression throughout your career, what is some of the things that you've been focused on working on maybe this year to get better at so that way you can continue that ascension and get to where you're going?
Just really toning down and just focusing on stopping the run. In Ohio, every team we know runs the ball, especially when it comes to playoff when the weather gets bad up here. We know, as a D lineman, you have to run the ball. A lot of teams get big running backs. They just focus in, Olmsted Falls, triple option. Highland, they did, a scheme like Olmsted Falls. And we know, as the teams we play, longer and longer, the O-line gets bigger. So a lot of teams are going to use the run to advantage. So I know to just stay low and just hold my gap so I can just open up the next level for the people behind me.
Yeah, and Lance, the defense has been exceptional up front for you guys. I mean, you guys have definitely stopped the run, and your defense has been a difference maker, really, when you look at some of the teams you played. Do you think playing in the Southwestern Conference where teams do run the football prep you for the playoffs? Because it seems like a lot of teams, like you mentioned, do run the football. And what's your favorite thing to do? Do you like trying to block the gaps, or do you like trying to get after the quarterback a little bit when he drops back to pass?
It helps out a lot, especially going into the playoffs. Everybody knows teams are going to run the ball. It especially helps out with knowing teams the formations are already going to be in. If we're playing Olmsted Falls, a perfect example of Olmsted Falls, and then we play Highland, their schemes are exactly the same. So it just gives us a just boost and a heads up of just like teams are going to be running the ball a lot. We're going to see the same plays, same stuff. So it just gives us all a boost and advantage on the defense. And for the second question, my favorite part is definitely stopping the run. My coach makes us earn the right to like pass rush out here, and I've earned it so far. But I still like to just tone in and just stop the run. My favorite part is stopping the run, just opening my gap and just hearing people get whacked right behind me or right next to me beside my ear. Just like props to Ryan. Just like every time I open up my gap, I always see him just flying through and whacking somebody. And we're always just like, whether it's Jerry or either Grant playing safety, him coming down and just whacking everybody. I just love just like playing as a team, just like seeing like team plays all together.
We're talking with Lance Dawson from Avon. You also play on the offensive end. Talk about the level of conditioning that you need to go through to be able to play both sides for such a tremendous team, and given the high expectations that Coach Elder has for you.
Yeah. The conditioning is a lot. Knowing we're a high paced team, we like to go back to back plays off the rip, just like showing that like to show dominance first to just keep it going, and to play both ways as a heavier dude. It takes a lot. Especially do during like the summer off season and like during camp. I hit it hard. I do track also, so it helps a lot with stamina. But just getting used to in the off season, like the camps we go to, like Florida and Mount Union, it helps out a lot with just like getting up my stamina, and just we do a lot of run plays too because our running back depth is really good. So we really focus on running, whether we have to do down and backs at practice or just run a lot more as a group with the O line. So
And
Lance, go.
I have a follow up to that one. Sorry, Noah. With talk about the running back group then. With that, with Cam and Keontae going down, mid season, did you guys as linemen take it upon yourselves to I don't want to say play harder, but take it upon yourselves to try to help your other running backs out a little bit more by either putting a little get that little extra inch or get that little extra effort to take care of your running backs who aren't as experienced as Cam and Keontae.
Yeah, we know like when they went down, the other running backs had to step up. So it was on us to give those kids the open gaps and all the holes to run through easily. Just Mikey Colburn and Adrian Ramirez and Dean Andrus, those three, really, and Jarrell, those four, just like knowing like they were pulled up from a different position and they were learning new plays. So we made it we wanted to make it as easy as possible for them to just see the gap and just hit it and just go.
Lance, going into that game, Highlands defense was only giving up 6 points per game in this game. And then you guys knew that your offensive line was had to be leaning on you guys. And the physicality really brought it, I feel like, in that game. Keontae had like almost 200 yards and a touchdown. But your quarterback, Blake Elder, he was 12 of 14 for 112 yards and a touchdown. Just kind of talk about how Blake was able to really manage the game and talk about how big time of a performance he was. He played against Highland a couple years ago, and he knows what it takes to play against these guys. Just talk about how your quarterback, Blake Elder, really managed the game for you guys to get another regional championship.
Oh yeah, he definitely knows the feeling. Like he goes out to these games ready, locked in. He knows the feeling of what it's like to play in big games like this, and he knows like what it takes to win that last game, and it's been showing off really a lot lately, especially him not playing as much last year because of Nolan, but coming into this year with his first like starts and all that, he knew what he had to do, and he's proven everybody that he's about that life, and he runs the ball great. He scored the first touchdown with him scrambling up the middle and scoring, and he could definitely throw it out there really good to Grant, and he knows what his role is, and he's doing a great job with that.
Well, I can tell you this. I mean, I feel like every game that we're at, whether it's Avon, I feel like when we see Grant Barr catching that one-handed ball, I feel like it's unbelievable. Rob, he was at that Glenville game when Grant made that one-handed catch. It's just unbelievable how Grant's able to make those big-time plays for you guys on the offensive side.
Yeah, it's crazy. He does it in practice too, and warm-ups and all that. I don't know how he does it. It's just I think he's cheating sometimes. He's got like glue on his gloves. It's crazy. Sometimes he just looks like Jeremiah Smith, like just catching everything. It's unbelievable. But it's also the hard work he puts in. He plays both ways, different positions, and he just knows another person who just knows his role and just hits it hard.
Lance, it's been again as we talk about this defense, and one thing that kind of pops out to me is the physicality and the energy that I see week in and week out. Can you talk a little bit about who are those guys that are the energy guys? Obviously, yourself and our previous guest Ryan, are leaders on that team. But who are your energy guys? Who are the guys that are constantly bringing that energy each week or each down or each series?
Yeah, that's definitely Vinny DiTilio, one of our linebackers. He plays through anything. You have to kill him to take him off that field. Him coming with I think it was a broken thumb. He's got a cast on, and he plays with no gloves, he's the first person I've seen ever do that as a linebacker. And he just knows that he like he basically runs the defense. He does a lot of calls. He gives me my calls sometimes of where to go, and he's our real guy, our main real leader guy. He's very vocal. He tries to know assignment the best sometimes, but it gets the best of us. We all mess up here and there. But another person is Jerry Clements. He's a big, loud, vocal guy during practice to just get us right for locked-in games like this. He's also a really good player. I think he plays safety and linebacker, or another hard hitter. Another person that plays with injuries and all that. I think he fractured his thumb. He played through that. Made big plays for us, and he's just him and Vinny DiTilio and Jerry Clements. They are our two main vocal guys that get us all hyped.
Yeah, it seems like you have a lot of those leaders on the team, especially you and Ryan, who we just talked to. Leader-wise, what did you take it upon yourself this offseason and tell yourself, you know what, I need to do X to have a successful season for me and my teammates so that we're successful this season?
Yeah, I made a couple group chats with some of the players as D linemen that were the ones and twos that play, and I let them know we're probably gonna go far this year, and I knew what our defensive scheme it starts with the D line up front, and I let them know off rip it's gonna start with us up front to set the tone of the defense. The D line are the closest ones to the ball. We're gonna make the plays first, and they really understood that a lot. With some people coming up that were playing JV, and now they're just out of nowhere playing varsity, and now they're making plays because they know what it takes, and I've set the tone for a lot of them, and my role for the team is just be a vocal guy all around, break down huddles and all that. But I just let everybody know it's going to start up front with the D line making the plays first, and us giving you those open gaps for everybody and just making plays because of us. So that's my role. That's my leadership or goal for a team to just know what my role is.
We're talking with Lance Dawson from Avon. Lance, I asked this question to Ryan and some of the other teammates as well, but you guys have had these long playoff runs, state championship last year, state semifinals the last few years on top of that. Talk about how important, how impactful those extra practices are for yourself and also for the program, especially the underclassmen.
Helps us out a lot. And with us moving around practices because of different games we're gonna play, we're gonna practice on Saturdays sometimes or Sundays. It helps us out a lot, and that's us bringing up the younger kids to help us out with certain players on different teams. It just helps us out a lot all around, just knowing what players we have to mainly focus on from different teams, whether we have to change the front, make different calls, and yeah, it helps us out a lot with those practices that we get to practice. Even I practice after I'm just focused on footwork, handwork, either just knowing my assignment, and yeah, it helps out a lot.
All right, last question before we get you out of here. First off, congratulations on going to Cincinnati. Definitely not your focus at the moment, but we definitely want to acknowledge that. This week you're going up against Walsh Jesuit, a team that unlike Hoban, you also have a lot of experience with, is a team you don't have a whole lot of experience with. Without giving too much away, talk about what you've seen so far from Walsh, and kind of what are some of the things that they do well.
I've seen from film and videos on YouTube that they have I think a 4-star, 5-star wide receiver, number 8, Milan Paris. We know coming into this week that we're gonna have to switch our defense and just know what opponents we're going up. That he's really tall, he's really fast, he can catch the ball very good, and they're running back number 5. He's a big kid. He runs the ball very hard, We know like up D-line up front, we're gonna do a 4-man front this game. So we know we got to stop the run with him. As last game, we heard he had almost 200 yards, and their quarterback, we know he can throw a deep ball, and we know like we just got to cage rush him because on the run, we've seen on film, he can't run the most, but we're gonna try to cage him as good as possible with the D-line. But he has a good deep ball, so we know we just gotta. I don't know if we gotta change the scheme with just playing like more of guys in the back to cover the deep ball with the wide receiver from quarterback, and yeah, we just know like let our pads do the talking the whole game and just play our game. Just let our pads do the talking the whole game.
There you go.
Excellent. Well, Lance, thanks for taking the time to join us tonight. Good luck to you and the Eagles this week against Walsh, and hopefully as another step toward a successful title defense.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Lance. Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
That is Avon defensive lineman Lance Dawson. He's going to Cincinnati next year. He's first team All Southwestern Conference. Made 2 huge plays on special teams, in addition to 3 sacks on defense and opening up holes for Cam and Keontae Smith, Kim Wendell and Keontae Smith all throughout the Highland game. Real impressive 2 guys, 2 student athletes from Avon there. It's awesome to feature some of the defensive players. Because admittedly we could do better on that. So we talked about this in our pre-show meetings about getting some more defenders on, and we couldn't have asked for 2 better defenders to join us tonight. All right. So with that, Sean has meticulously prepared the PowerPoint. So we'll go through the Division I states. We'll go through the different division semifinals. Admittedly, a lot of the schools are going way out of our coverage area. But it's good to acknowledge who's playing where. So we do have first, local to us, St. Ed's. They will be taking on Olentangy Orange. This is their first regional championship according to Noah. Pretty sure I read that right. Yep, first regional championship in school history. That game will be played at Mansfield Arlen Field down in Mansfield, Ohio. And then we have Middletown taking on St. X out of Cincinnati. That game will be played at Welcome Stadium in Dayton. And again, we're really familiar with St. Ed's, recent state champions. Good to see a few public schools in there though as well with Middleton and Olentangy Orange.
Yeah, this is, just to kind of pipe in here, when you look at, obviously St. Xavier is a massive, massive team in the southwestern area of Ohio. And they beat a very, very, very good Elder team last week in the regional finals. This is, we look at St. Ed, St. Xavier, these are blue bloods of Division I. Olentangy Orange is a team that's kind of a recent addition, I think, to this kind of echelon. They're obviously having a great season. And Middletown, I mean, this is the first time I've ever seen Middletown this far in the playoffs. I've seen them in the playoffs. I've seen them in a regional semifinal here or there, but I can't recall seeing Middletown be in the state semifinals. Which, again, you wonder, going into these state semifinals, does a team like a St. Ed's and a St. Xavier, and even to a certain extent Olentangy, have a distinct advantage because they've kind of been in these waters? This isn't unfamiliar territory, whereas maybe a team like Middletown either hasn't been there in so long, or maybe this is their first time in this type of situation, and are the lights too bright for them? That's the big wonder here. Can Middletown just keep doing what they're doing and come in and shock the world and beat St. Xavier? Possibly. But again, I think I just kind of, when I look at the Division I slate, I'm kind of think we're on a road to 2 teams that were inevitable, I think, coming into this year anyway. With one of the Cincinnati Catholic schools versus the Cleveland Catholic school. And it kind of seems in the last few years to be the how these teams end up.
I mean, looking at Middletown's schedule too, their losses are to a 7-5 Lakota West team and a 4-7 Hamilton team. But they've shown they can win low scoring games as well. So I mean, it's the alma mater of Pro Football Hall of Famer Chris Carter is I'm sure Carter's pretty excited that his alma mater has gotten to this far. It's the first regional championship for Middletown in school history as well. But Sean, given what we know about St. X, their only losses are to Elder, which they had just avenged, and to Archbishop Moeller, which they also they avenged both their losses.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's St. X is a traditional power. So you have two, as you mentioned, two experienced teams in the Catholic schools, two novices as far as this level of competition is concerned in Middletown and Olentangy Orange, but two great games to set up the Division I championship, which we'll talk about next week after this round is over. All right, we'll go on to Division II, and this one we'll have a little bit more to say about this one since we have a team here. So the first one, let's start first with Cincinnati Anderson taking on Sunbury Big Walnut. Cincinnati Anderson last year made it to the state championship and lost to Avon in a tremendous game. That game will be played at historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, out in Lewis, more out like in the Polaris area. Tremendous venue to watch anything really, but for this game it's going to be great. And then we have Avon, the reigning defending Division II state champions, taking on Walsh Jesuit. That game will be played at Infocision Stadium at the University of Akron. Rob, Avon, as what happened last year, the last team standing in our coverage area. What does Avon need to do to beat Walsh?
Well, they can't have, we talked about the 4 fumbles, and they luckily recovered. You just can't make mistakes against Walsh. Walsh is playing at a high level. I mean, to beat a team like Hoban and only giving up 7 points, that's pretty impressive. But Avon, too, we've seen their defense play at a high level. And you could tell in the highlight video, these guys play hard. They play suffocating defense. In the secondary, they make plays. They're very good tacklers, and they're going to have to. Walsh is a team that's kind of like them a little bit. They can run the football very well, but they also can pass when they need to, and that's kind of what Avon does. The one thing I noticed with Avon, and I think Blake Elder does a great job with this kid has a really good arm and an accurate arm at that, and they have weapons all over the place with their wide receivers. But running the football, that's what's tough against any defense, is the fact that they run so well. And Keontae Smith, the way this kid runs, I mean, Jacorian Caffey was a really good runner. I think Keontae Smith is a guy that's a really shifty. He's a little more shiftier. He's faster. He said on our show that he didn't like contact, but every time I see him, he's taking a hit to the pads and running over players. So I think that opens it up for Blake Elder to pass to Grant Barr and the other receivers there, because they have weapons all over. But the one thing that Blake Elder really doesn't show that much is that he can run the football. He did. He scored the first touchdown for Avon against Highland, running the football in. When he feels that pressure, I think he's really got good pocket awareness when he feels the pressure to either run, or a lot of times he'll scramble out of the pocket and just make that big throw. And his receivers, they've played so long together and so well that a lot of these receivers do what even Brown's receivers don't do, and they come back to the ball. They follow Blake Elder and they try to get open. Even the Browns receivers we see, sometimes don't do that. But you look at Avon, and these receivers are following him around, trying to get open, and that's how they get a lot of their big plays on those scramble plays. So Avon's got to be almost perfect, and so does Walsh. It's when you get in the Final Four, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. You got to make big plays, and you almost have to stay perfect. And this is going to be a really, really good game.
I think it's also telling, Rob, that you look at a team like Walsh Jesuit, and for the longest time, we talked about it last year, how Avon took that next step and they finally beat Hoban, right? and they were able to break through. And now we kind of see that same thing with Walsh Jesuit. They were finally able to beat a Hoban team that's always kind of stood in their way. One way or the other has always been the hurdle to get to where they're at right now. Like Ed brought up in the show, like Noah pointed out, this is the first time since 1999 that Walsh Jesuit's been in the state Final Four. I mean, that's almost 2 decades of 3 decades almost of just, being right there and not being able to take that next step. So you got to wonder, whereas on the flip side, you look at Avon, who are here, this is familiar territory for a lot of these kids from last year. So does that give them the advantage? I don't know. I think Walsh Jesuit, like Lance Dawson pointed out, they got a lot of playmakers, and I think that their explosivity on offense tends to give defenses fits. They may like defense. It's we see it all the time in the pros and in college, that it's those plays, those off script plays, those plays that kind of come out of nowhere. When they do everything right, but they still win. I kind of get that feeling from a Walsh Jesuit. Like they're just that team that's been able to take advantage of the littlest of opportunity. And I think Walsh Jesuit is riding high right now, beating Hoban, and now they get an opportunity to take on and possibly beat Avon. I think Avon needs to clean up what they did last week against a team that, for all intents and purposes, they play every year and is very familiar with Avon. Whereas Walsh Jesuit and Avon, I don't think have a lot of history with each other. So this is all new territory. So I look for this game to be sort of kind of like your heavyweight fight. First quarter, maybe feeling each other out, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. And then we see fireworks. Again, I think it's going to be a fun game to cover. And I think it's going to be a fun game to watch from both ends, because I'm interested to see how Walsh Jesuit handles the current situation, this being here. Not that it's too big for them. They're a program. They're well coached. They're here, but these players have never gotten this far. They've never practiced this late into a season. They've never had to go to a neutral site in this area. Beating Hoban was the thing, and they did it. Can they continue that down the road? Can they continue that momentum? And that's going to be an interesting thing to see early on in this game against Avon.
All right, so you guys laid that out pretty well. So Avon Walsh Jesuit will be taking place at University of Akron's InfoCision Stadium this Friday night at 7 p.m. All right, Division III state semifinal. The Region 10 champion, the aforementioned Toledo Central Catholic Fighting Irish. They are coming in with a record of 10-4. They are taking on undefeated 12-0. The CVCA Royals, the champions of Region 9. This is CVCA's first regional championship. This is Central Catholic's 4th in a row, I believe 11th overall. And again, they've won multiple state championships across divisions, that being Central Catholic. CVCA, led by quarterback Charlie Levac. They have a really stingy defense. They've only given up 14 points more than one time. And, they're going to be coming to this game against a fellow Catholic school or private school in Central Catholic. We just talked about how good Central Catholic can run the ball. Jeremiah Fuller, Anthony Sylvester, they combined for about 350 yards on the ground against Rocky River. So we'll see if they're able to continue that run game and just continue doing what we're used to seeing Central Catholic do. And we'll see if the lights are too bright for CVCA with this being their first state Final Four. That game will be played at Fostoria High School. That game will be played at Fostoria High School. In the other matchup, we have Tip City Tippecanoe, the champions of Division III Region 12, will take on the number 1 seed and champions of Region 11, Columbus Bishop Watterson. Tippecanoe is undefeated. Bishop Watterson is coming into this game, I believe, with 1 loss. No, they're also undefeated. Sorry, so they are 12-0 coming into this game. So couple really good teams here. They're going to do battle in Mason at Tri-Healy Beacon Stadium in Mason, Ohio.
And Ed, I got some inside information. I have a friend that I played at Vandalia Butler High School, Clay Brown. He currently lives in Tip City, where the Tippecanoe team is, and he sent me some helpful information to relay on our show about this matchup, specifically about some players you want to keep an eye on for Tippecanoe. Number one is their running back, and he's also plays defensive end, but he's averaging 111 yards a game, and that's Xavier Melton. He also has had a total of 11 touchdowns on the season. Again, that's the regular season touchdowns. He's added more as the playoffs have gone on. This is the fourth consecutive season that they've won their league championship. It's also their first time in school history that they've gone back-to-back undefeated regular seasons. They are a team that's primed. They are a team that's ready to play. I've been told that, and this is again a direct quote, all these kids at Tippecanoe do is eat Cheetos and kick ass. So that's a direct quote from the Tip City city of Tip City.
Wow.
But again, this is a great, and I have my own personal feelings against Bishop Watterson, as my friend Clay and I both were on a team that got to this point in the Division II state finals in 2001 and lost to Bishop Watterson by a field goal to end our senior season. So I am fully on the Tippecanoe bandwagon, beat Bishop Watterson. But again, Bishop Watterson is a team that is a tough team. And there is talk in the Twitter universe and others that out there that say Bishop Watterson may be the toughest team, bar none, in any division. Now, what I think about that is, obviously these people have only ever seen Columbus Bishop Watterson play football because they're not looking at a St. Ed's, an Avon, Toledo Central Catholic in this division. It's nice when the fans come out and try and say that they're the best team ever, and you want them to say that. But it's interesting, where we're at right now. But this is a very interesting game. This actually has a local flavor. Tippecanoe, again, 5 miles north of where I grew up. So good to see a local team that I know. Obviously, I wish it was my Aviators, but we'll get there eventually. But unfortunately, like I said, go Tippecanoe here. Beat the pants off the Bishop Waters.
All right, there we go. Set up really good there, and it's kind of what I've said before. Until someone beats Central Catholic, I'm going to pick them to win until someone knocks them off. And the alternative to Cheetos and kicking ass for CVCA is dumbbells in the Bible, or barbells in the Bible. That was a direct quote from their head coach Nick Cook in the Plain Dealer over the weekend. So we got Division III is all sorts of different mantras there. Let's shift over to Division IV, and we have a really good matchup here. We have the reigning defending state champion Nadden Hutton Indian Valley taking on Cleveland Glenville, and this game is going to be played in Minerva. And Glenville looking for their third state championship in the past 4 years. They came up short against Perkins last year, and then Perkins came up short against Indian Valley in the state championship. Again, that game will be played in Minerva. And then we do have Cincinnati Indian Hill. This is their first regional championship. They will be taking on Shelby. In Shelby, this is their first regional championship since 2017. This game will be played at Sydney Memorial Stadium in Sydney. Glenville, obviously local to us, a lot of great athletes, and they're primed to take back what they to take back that state championship for Coach Ginn. But going up against the defending champions, they're certainly gonna have something to say about it. But we got some good matchups here in Division IV.
Yeah, we definitely do. And again, anytime you talk about a Glenville team, the one thing that comes to mind is speed and explosivity, and that's what Glenville has, in abundance. And again, you know, these teams are I think well balanced here. You know, this is a pretty good snapshot of Division Four. This is a pretty good, you know, dichotomy of what these teams are. These have been the best four teams in Division Four pretty much all year, going when you follow the statewide rankings and things like that. So this is one of those divisions where I think if any one of these teams came out and won the state championship, I think you wouldn't be shocked. There's not. I don't think there's a clear cut favorite. I know some of the people that follow us from Glenville are going to get very upset at what I just said. But let's be completely honest here. Like Glenville is, you know, a great team, and they are. But again, Indian Valley is good. Indian Hill is good. Shelby is good. All these teams are good. They're here for a reason. No one gets to the state Final Four in any division by accident. But I think these are the most, I think, evenly matched teams going in, and it's hard to pick a favorite. For me, obviously for local flavor, we like to see Glenville, we like to see the Tarblooders win, but you know, but all four of these teams really they do their thing very well, and we'll just have to see how they match up.
All right, those are Division 4 state semifinals. All right, shifting over to Division 5, and we have a team that we haven't seen in this round in a while, which is surprising given the level of dominance that they have had. Youngstown Cardinal Mooney, it's their first regional championship since 2013. I kind of had to do a double take at that one from Noah there, but they will be taking on Wheelersburg. This game will be played at Westerville Central High School in Westerville, good night, Eddie, Ohio. And on the other side, we have Liberty Center taking on Lewistown Indian Lake. For Lewistown, this is their first regional championship. And school history, going back to the other side of the bracket, this is Wheelersburg's first regional title since 2018. So we have Liberty Center taking on Indian Lake. This game will be played at Spartan Stadium in Lima, Ohio. I don't know much about any of these teams, quite honestly.
I don't know.
So this will obviously be very competitive, and we'll see how things shake out here between those teams. All right, Division 6. A couple of powerhouses here that we're pretty familiar with. Starting with North Robinson, Colonel Crawford. Say that 10 times fast.
Wow.
They are taking on, and this is their first regional championship, they are taking on a team that really needs no introduction in the playoffs, the Kirtland Hornets, champions of the Chagrin Valley Conference. I'm not sure what division they're in, but it doesn't matter which one they're in. They always win. That game will be played at Byers Field in Parma, Ohio. So we got a local game coming up here for us. And then we will have, on the other side of the bracket, Hopewell Loudon. Bascom Hopewell Loudon will take on Coldwater. And, for Coldwater, we're quite familiar with them. Them and Kirtland have had many battles over the years across divisions as well. That game will be played at Mercy Health Wapakoneta VFW Field in Wapakoneta, Ohio. We're familiar with Tiger Laverty and Kirtland. Because of that, I think we have a pretty good idea of what will probably happen here. But Coldwater, the Cavaliers, are an extremely good team, and they are more than capable of winning the state championship because they've done it before. I don't think we have too much else to talk about here. Hopewell Loudon. Trying to check my sources here. Noah has been blowing me up as far as here. We don't have anything on them. So Hopewell Loudon taking on Coldwater, both traditional powers. Coldwater, again, recent state champions in Division 6. All right, last and certainly not least, Division 7. And there's a little bit of a shock here. That we're used to seeing here that is not particularly here. So on the other side of the bracket, let's get that done first. McDonald will take on Jeromesville Hillsdale. This game will be taking place at New Philadelphia's Quaker Stadium. For McDonald, this is their first regional championship since 1994. Hillsdale, we may remember, were the state runners-up last year after after making it to the state championship game where they lost to Maria Stein Marion Local. You may be asking yourself, why is Maria Stein Marion Local not on the screen? The answer is simple. Their 76-game active winning streak was snapped by St. Henry last week by a score of 24-7. So they will be St. Henry will be taking on Columbus Grove. That's for St. Henry. This is their first Final Four since 2006, and St. Henry did what no school has been able to do in 77 games, and that's defeat Maria Stein Marion Local. So, I mean, by default, you almost have to call them the odds-on favorite series. If you to be the man, you got to beat the man. And St. Henry's, they beat the man. So that, and I think this has gone viral on social media. I mean, if you're gonna lose a game, I gotta give Maria Stein credit on this one. Instead of trying to do a crazy 70-yard Hail Mary, they simply took a knee, accepted their fate, and shook the hands of the team that bested them in St. Henry. So just a tremendous effort by St. Henry to take out Maria Stein Marion Local. And so we will have a new state champion in Division 7.
Wow, that's impressive. I mean, because they've been so dominant year in and year out.
First loss in 76 games, I believe.
That's crazy.
And that was a rematch of the Week 3 battle where Marion Local. I mean, they only won that game 21 to 14. So it wasn't like they blew them out in the first game either.
Yeah, that was a shock to me when I looked at on Saturday morning. I kind of was expecting to see them, and they weren't. And St. Henry did a great job. They came out and took it to Marion Local, and that's how it works.
That's why you play the games.
Absolutely. Why they play the game.
Absolutely. All right, that will be Columbus Grove taking on St. Henry. That game will be played at Memorial Stadium in Troy. All right, so we have one game left in our coverage area that we'll provide our normal coverage on. That is Avon versus Walsh Jesuit. And if I'm not mistaken, we may have something going on there. Am I?
Yeah. I'm gonna go into Akron Infocision Stadium. First off, the people of Akron, I love you, but I'm a Bowling Green fan. I'm not happy. The last time a Bowling Green team went into Akron, they lost. So, just gonna say it there, but we'll get beyond that. But I'm excited because I get to go see Avon versus Walsh Jesuit. I think this is going to be a fun game to cover. I think it's going to be. This has been the hardest game for me to kind of preview because these two teams are just not familiar with each other. So, what am I expecting? I'm expecting Avon to come out and do what Avon does. As for Walsh Jesuit, the question I mentioned earlier when we were talking about this is the beating of Hoban and getting past the Hoban hurdle going to have a hangover effect into the next week? That's a concern. And I know every coach will say we're on to the next one, But if your whole season came down to beating Hoban, and now you have to go next, it's a hard turn to make, especially given the fact that what we have here this week, with Thanksgiving and the holidays and all that stuff, Avon is used to this to a certain extent. They've been through this. They understand the mechanics of this. The coaches to understand how to work this. You wonder if that plays a factor. We'll see. But I'm definitely looking forward to getting out there covering Avon, representing SOT out there. As long as they're out there, we'll be out there. It's going to be chilly. It's going to be a chilly one. But luckily, our friends at Mako have provided us with perhaps the best coverage of our week-old bodies that can handle. But I'll be out there at Akron Infocision Stadium this Friday night. walking off some of that turkey that I ate. Some too much of the turkey, maybe. But the only place you're going to be able to see it and see our updates is if you follow us on X, if you follow us on our social medias, if you follow us on YouTube. We will post a highlight video, win or lose, and hopefully we're talking about, sending someone like Rob to Canton to follow Avon once again. They have good luck if they make it to Canton. Rob, you went last year in the snow and they won a state championship. So I don't know, but I think I'm excited to go this week. It'll be my first ever state semifinal that I've covered. So it's gonna be a fun time, and I'll have some coffee and we'll figure it out, boys.
All right, Sean is going to go out to Infosys Stadium in University of Akron. Check out Avon versus Walsh Jesuit. And suffice to say, our support is 100% behind the Avon Eagles. Good luck to the other local schools that are still in the state tournament as well. All right, we want to thank Ryan Stolarski and Lance Dawson, a couple of fantastic defenders from Avon, for joining us tonight. And that's going to do it for our show. All right, we will be back next Monday night, same time, same place, on December 1st to go through the state semifinal recap of Avon versus Walsh Jesuit. We'll touch on all the other regions, other divisions as well. We will have a few guests on. We don't know who that's going to be yet, but we'll get that sorted out over the weekend. So make sure you stay tuned to us on Facebook. Sports on Tap on Twitter/X. Check out our website. Get those notifications. You'll find out who we will have on probably later this week. And then we will have Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League hockey live streaming starting up real quick here, tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, December 3rd in Elyria Catholic for Olmsted Falls versus Elyria Catholic. Unfortunately, yours truly has a work engagement that I completely forgot about when we were scheduling this out. So my voice is going to be on ice for at least a little bit longer, but I'll be ready to roll and join the guys when we come back on the air for that. We will also have a preview show for the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. We will have a few coaches on our show, which will be on an upcoming Sunday night. Again, make sure you're following us on Twitter and check out our website, sports.tabpodcast.com, for the information of when we are going to be on the air and who we are going to be talking to. For Rob Troutman, Noah Jacobson, Sean Duffy, and Josh Jeffy, my name is Ed Dick. This has been the Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance High School Football Recap Show. Stay tuned for more for sponsors, and we'll see you on the other side.
All right. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.
It's all about the deal at Brunswick Auto Mart. Save big this month with deals like this. Don't miss the Make This the Summer event and lease a new 2025 Ram 1500 Night Edition Crew Cab 4x4 with heated side mirrors, parking sensors, backup cam, Apple CarPlay, and lane departure warning for just $319 a month. Brunswick Auto Mart. Car buying made truly simple.